Hey everyone, I'm Marcus Walter, and welcome to Weather Real Reviews. In this series, Weather Real Reviews, we do just that. We review weathercasts and weather reels from all across the U.S. and beyond with the goal of helping everyone become better broadcasters and better broadcast meteorologists. In this episode, we'll take a look at a weathercast from meteorologist Sheena Martin. Sheena Martin, she's a meteorologist in Louisiana, northeastern Louisiana, and she works the morning shift at her particular TV station. Let's take a look at some of her work.
Right now, your KNOE 8 News hour-by-hour forecast.
And I know you said your grandfather had some damage by his house, too.
Yes, we were trying to reach him yesterday after the tornado moved through, and it took a minute to get to him, but luckily everything's safe where they are. They just lost some power, but others around them were not as fortunate.
I'm so glad he's okay, and hopefully that everyone else will be able to recover soon.
Yes.
But that system is coming our way.
Mm-hmm. And we still have the potential to see some tornadoes in our viewing area a little bit later on this morning, especially now that we're getting the sunrise. Here within the next hour, that sun will be up, and we'll get into daytime heating. Live Creed Tower Cam, rain's coming down in Monroe. If you're headed to work this morning, drive careful. You're going to run into some ponding on the roadways. Don't want to be hydroplaning all over the road, so you need to give yourself that extra time to get where you're going. The low pressure system back off to our north and west. Stemming from that, the warm front lifting across the area. We have storms stretching all the way up from the northeast all the way back towards the Gulf Coast in Texas. So we kind of have a long morning and afternoon of some of these storms impacting our area.
I think she's doing a really good job of setting up the situation, talking about the fact that we have rain on the way, we have storms on the way, there's a threat for tornadoes. So people, if they were watching, they should hopefully understand that severe weather is really threatening their region where they live, and they would likely want to continue watching to get more details.
Doppler 8 radar shows that we still have some heavy rain north of I-20. This is all sub-severe. There's likely a little bit of gusty winds embedded within some of that, but for the most part, that's all it's going to stay as, is just that rain. Now, south of I-20, especially where we're seeing still that bowing structure, it's kind of broken up some, but now that the sun's coming up, we'll likely start to see an uptick as this continues to swing its way off to the east. Now, I will say, I think this model is a little bit slow with some of the rain and the showers and thunderstorms that we are seeing this morning, just because, kind of what we're seeing at this time is this, and this is showing it at 10 a.m. We'll likely see things advance a little bit more out ahead of this system.
So at this point, Sheena is working her way through the Futurecast, which is a forecast model that can help show what's happening with the rainfall in this particular situation that will be threatening the viewing area that she's covering. And I think she's doing a good job in terms of talking about what's happening on the Futurecast, talking about how the storms are likely to intensify as we head toward a later part of the morning into the afternoon when we get more peak heating. Typically, the more heat you have during the daytime, the stronger the storms will be if they do decide to form, given all things considered. So again, she does a really good job of explaining what's happening with the weather and how that will lead to whatever weather is on the way for later on in the morning and in the afternoon.
Now by 1 p.m. it looks like we could have storms stretch from East Carroll all the way down towards Catahoula into Concordia parishes, and then by about 2 o'clock on the Mississippi River and out of here by 3 p.m. So between now and 3 p.m. is when we're expecting to see those severe weather impacts, and a new tornado watch is going to be issued here pretty soon within the next hour or two. But regardless of where you live, regardless of the colors, we're looking at that large hail threat, those strong winds up to 70 miles per hour, and straight line winds can cause just as much damage as a weak tornado. So keep that in mind. With saturated soils, it's not going to take too much, for things to start toppling around the region once we get some strong wind gusts in here. Temperatures peaking in the 70s, but we're cooling off with the rain. We'll drop down to the 40s tonight, and the remainder of the week is looking nice. Sunshine filling back in, but we'll be cool for your Wednesday.
And overall, I thought she did a really good job of talking about what active weather is on the way, the timing of it, how impactful it will be, and really what it means for people driving. For instance, she mentioned that they will likely run into ponding on the roadways. She also talked about that tornado threat as well. So overall, I thought she did a really good job when it came to communicating the forecast to the public. And I think whenever she's ready to move on to that next television market, typically in TV, you try to move up in market. Whenever she's ready to move on, she should be prepared and she should be ready to take on that new challenge. But I do have a couple of tips for Sheena, things that I think could potentially help her do even better than what she has presented today. One of the first tips is that I think whenever there's any type of active weather, you want to get to that active weather as soon as possible. So I may encourage her to rearrange her show just a little bit. The way it started out, she started out with a tower cam shot. Then she led to a wider view of what was happening with fronts and an area of low pressure and wider radar. And then she went to her Doppler 8 radar. In this case, I would recommend her going straight from the live shot or the live camera directly to the Doppler 8 radar to really talk about what's happening in the viewing area at that moment, what that means for people heading out the door. Typically in the mornings, people may be watching really quickly before they head out to work, and they really do need that information up front. She did have those graphics toward the top of her broadcast. It wasn't the first one, at least the Doppler 8 radar. It wasn't the first graphic she showed, but I would definitely recommend her showing that right after the Skycam or even before the Skycam, just to really point out the fact that we're dealing with wet weather and active weather moving into the region right now, and that will impact everyone headed out to work and school. I would also encourage Sheena to definitely slow down even more. A lot of times when we're speaking and when we're covering complicated topics, people need more time to digest the information that we're presenting them. So slowing down your speech, that will allow people at home to understand better what you are trying to tell them. But overall, I thought she did a wonderful job. I'm so excited to see what the future holds for Sheena. Again, she's at the point in her career now where she is ready to move on to that next market. So we shall see where she lands when the time comes, whenever she decides to start her search and then accept that next opportunity. But great job, Sheena. Loved your work. And thanks again for letting me review it right now. All right, if you have any questions about what we talked about in this particular episode, definitely reach out to me. I'm on various social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. @MarcusDWalter is the handle. I would love to hear from you. Let us know your feedback, and hopefully it all makes us better. But again, this series is really here to help people become better broadcasters and better broadcast meteorologists. And until next time, thank you for watching. Thanks for the feedback, and enjoy your day.